Okay, so I guess you probably detected my strategy for staying aloof and above the fray. There's mice running over my tent. I've been here for a minute. Um, and the funny thing is, I think when I bounce out of this situation, I'm gonna land in a really nice uh, spot. I've been. That's all I can say right now. I can't give away too much. But have you noticed the way that the stories are coming out? They are. It's a. They're 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 trying to hit. They're trying to strike a chord on some emotional levels, and they're trying to do that for a very specific reason, right? Um, if you take a mainstream media talking point narrative, by the time you even repeat or suggest it to yourself that something that they say has taken place, you're already it's really bad. It's like it's not just that you're wrong, it's just that you're gonna keep following that that you're gonna keep following that general dir- direction. It's like not to say that I know better or different. It's to say that there is something in the statement that cannot be proven. It's just saying, well, because they're not explaining it, then they don't feel like it's their responsibility to explain it to me. Although they might have investigators or people who know why such and such a thing is evident and w- why you can verify it. But I don't know, and that's just as a whole, but as everybody, each and every person individually, you can't believe any of them either. So why would you think that you can trust a multimedia conglomerate when you already know you can only believe that which is tried and tested? You cannot believe any one man, any one person out here on the planet. Because you can investigate and you can process and you can do all of these things, but really you're just participating in replicating its uh, genealogy. Like the there's something I need to break down slowly. I mean, it does take time, but there are different forms of the Christ, and it's a thing that we don't know anymore. So we freak out. Oh, you're saying this about you're making correlations, and you think there's no consequences for making a correlation, which is not been established as a um, point in common that you can preface an argument, which would be appreciated. I don't want a yes man, and I don't want to rationalize. People rationalizing in the upper registers is not arguing, you know, but yelling and shouting at people is what we understand as be arguing. They're basically just rationalizing. They're saying, "I don't want to rationalize with you." That's what they're saying, and when they're arguing, when they're yelling, that's what they're saying. But they're not arguing. They're telling you. Um, there's the messianic energy, which is Jesus the Christ, right, or Jesus the Nazarene. There's the Christ energy, which is the most ultimate. It's the most hideous form of warrior. And there's the Christ child energy, which is Tahuti. Grows up and becomes Tahuti, which is the teacher, the scholar. The boy who spent all of his time um, in synagogue studying with the elders, you know. Then there's the Christos. I shouldn't do that with my hands. The Christos is it's crystallization. It's also 665. You know, um, because like rust has a element. Rust is an element. On the periodic chart, and crystallization is just forming is just a structure. I should say, it's a structure. At 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 5 electrons, the structure of it's a, of a carbon um, will start to form structure. Well, what I'm saying, carbon before okay, 666 is a non-existent entity. An entity is like an elixir. An elixir is like a mercurial substance. It's like uh, a methodology for homeopathic remedies, working with a heavy metal and small amounts of things that can strip down that are corrode things. When you put them, they'll start to superimpose age on them, right? Like a bleach or something like that. Um, and heavy metal is even harder to make a more powerful homeopathic remedy. And heavy metals like lead, gold, antimony. Um, there's a couple more. I don't remember. Were used in alchemy to create these homeopathic remedies. And of course, these are sciences that people were developing themselves, so they had all different various ways to relate them in medical. Uh, I think they call it a tract. When somebody started to begin a book about healing, um, about medicinal values and chemicals. Um, but let me see what the Christ energies are. There's the messianic energy is also ancestral, and it's also sexual energy. The 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 Christ energy is different gods at different periods of time that were warlike and also erotic. Um, that's why they have like a lot of weapons, like bows and arrows. They don't really fire or those weapons or use those swords in violence. They use them to separate themselves from the physical. And those energies are also astrological. They're also constellations. And in the interest of nation building, Benjamin Franklin um, uh, did things with particular order to the energies that were rising in the constellations from the east. Like I don't really live in those times, so I don't really know what that all means. You know, um, I'm trying to actually open up a discussion for somebody who is more in depth. Uh, that could that could leave me a comment or text or something like that, or uh, shoot me a link or something. Um, but I'm missing something. There's the Christ energy, that's the child. There's the Christ energy, that's the teacher. There's the Christ energy, that's the most hideous form of warrior. There's the Christ energy, that's sexual energy, that where it's like it's the hero's journey, and you are figuring out how to encode your genealogy, and you're getting help from the ancestors. Um, and then the messianic, the demagoguery is the precursor to the messianic era, and the messianic era, it's Christendom. Christendom. So it's funny that there's a party, a, a duelist, right? Remember they used to have duels in Tennessee and shit. Like there was a duelist culture going on. Where we don't have places like Tennessee where you're allowed to go and practice that side of your origin of your um, nostalgia, you know. But you're still a duelist because there's a left-right paradigm, two-party system, wherein people of a contemporary day and age still have the moniker of the Dems, and the Dems is demagoguery, the precursor to Christendom. And you want to separate church and state, you might want to just rename yourself. You know, we got to stop insisting that people go away. If they find another name for themselves, then that will solve a lot of the problem. If they will not settle on, but if they will do some sort of inward looking to find out what you can term the general push of their modality is going, then you know who they are as a people, right? Um, they're gonna do it too. They're just gonna do it acting like they're just gonna do it fronting, but they're still gonna do it. A lot of people are gonna be like they're gonna uh, put up blinders, and they're not gonna see that, you know, and they're gonna make a million excuses, you know, for them to keep their jobs and, you know, to continue sandbagging and railroading people. So I mean, at some point you have to be like, fuck that, fuck agree to disagree. You know, don't run, it's gonna hurt. You know, like you have to, with money in your hand too. When you say that, by the way, you have to wave some dollars, and you have to say, "Don't run, it's gonna hurt." I seen that on Rapology's channel. Somebody was doing that. Some kids were there. I was like, "Where do you come up with this stuff?" Like, they're funny. I mean, like it's a psyche. The collective conscious is a trip. You know, we have one. You know, and it's fun if you process it and you can and you know and you can recognize the collective conscious in our society, and then people are gonna be scared of you and have a problem with you, weirdos, like nobodies. You know, people walk up to you and ask you for a lighter, and then they're gonna be like, "What, are you gonna light it for me? Don't be coming around here doing all that." And then you're gonna look down and you're gonna see they're wrapping some appendage around their fist. Like, yo, why are you wearing blue gloves? Like, what? Like, are you the police? And he's got a blanket, you know. And he's like this is a cliche person. I don't know what this energy is, but he better take his energy out of that, you know, because I mean, there's just fucking energy. People are just wrong for you, you know, and everybody has, you know, that to contend with. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, you know. Like, could it be that, like, I got my vibration on a channel that's gonna attract wealth, or am I looking like I'm gonna enrich myself in some way, or you know, and like you're just afraid of that, so you want to see if I will bow down or uh, detest some aspect of myself that you think that you could play me, you know. So you're gonna ask me to light a cigarette and distract me momentarily, you know. That's, I mean, furry shit like that. And rich people got it too. Like, rich people have to distinguish um, the furries, because they don't have people walking around with blankets wearing blue gloves that the police have, and he has a fucking one of those zip ties. Like, who gave you a zip tie and some blue gloves and you got a blanket? You just woke up out the bushes, you know? And then, so I mean that's just a weird fucking energy, and it's negative to yours. Like, he doesn't understand pathology, which is the study of suffering of humans, right? Where do you get true compassion, right? He doesn't have no perspective. He has pertaining to no thought. That's his problem, is he's not thinking on anything, right? But there's people like that are rich too. You know, you don't have to wake up out of the bushes, you know, to be a furry. You know, and on top of that, they usually pertain to your own race to just be more confusing. You know, it's the effect of modern invention, but you can only go so far as to try to make excuses for people that are generally pieces of shit. I keep looking over at the screen like this is some narration. Damn, I just went off on somebody popped up in my head and I made the video about him, but fuck it, let the video be about him. You know, he's there's no way he's gonna see this video. There's no way in hell he's gonna see this video on a burner flip phone. You know, like you can't even unlock, you can't even steal a phone or find one on BART and unlock the shit. You know, and you're an able-bodied person, intelligent enough to know what kind of energies are out there that you know that you can negotiate with, or I mean, because you're encoding your genealogy. You know, I don't have to have sex with a woman to have a child, to have children. I'm an ancestor. You know. So, I mean, it's just that's the again, that's why it's energy, because ancestral energy, you know. I kind of don't believe it sometimes, because I was thought that would be the tightest thing to ever, somebody to ever call you, you know, or to ever be, would be an ancestor. How could I say that? But I mean, how can I can't even distance myself from a piece of shit without them changing, without them molding me, because he's distracted me, you know. But that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And I don't think he has the chromosome that expresses itself as a gene that acts like a plant. I don't think he has it. So then, therefore, you know, you can make up all sorts of things about him, but he don't deserve to be out here walking around. You know, he's he's a fucking Zark. I don't know. That's, what is that? An alien or something? Like, there's all these different things, and then there's uh, really like a random integer or something, like just a they just bounce they just what they just bounce around on the low frequency levels, like they're just thrown in every direction that they ever go. You know, they're just tossed about, and they have no weight. You know, they have no weight and no depth. And they just never get up off of the, like, the lowest frequencies. They're asleep, right? There's there's being dead. There's the theta when you're asleep. There's ASMR, and there's alpha state. Um, and those are before you fall asleep. Like, I think they probably trigger the REM sleep or something. Like, but then also total darkness. You have to have total darkness to trigger REM. You know, and funny thing is, right, your eye makes light. It's like light is the luster from crushed death, or it's like the triple stage of or triple stage. It's like it's total darkness compounded 3 times. You know, it's the Tiamat. You know, that's what destroyed the planet that this planet came from. It's in Greek mythology. It's Hercules and Diodes, Di, Di, Diodes. I can't speak some of these names. I can't say. Uh, but um, there were some mares, female horses. That mares is where you get the word nightmare, and nightmare, and Mars. It's warlike energy, Mars, but it comes from feminine. So like Mars is male but masculine, but it came before that. It was feminine, like Tiamat sent mares. There's Mardukian, like it's another mystery system. There's different mystery systems out there. Um, and it's encoded in a language. It's language. Um, but they destroy. The thing is, that's funny, right? Is there's Tiamat, and then there's the ring of rocks that's around Mars that scientists call Tiamat, right? There's Tiamat is the name of the old planet that that Hercules was from, and she was trying to destroy Hercules. A lot of the times they're like in, well, a good example is Hawaiian mythology. Pele is trying to scorch and incinerate um, uh, the the hog god Kamuapua, Kamuapua, Cam Kamuapua, the hog god, and the hog god is trying to make stir up the ocean, splash her with cooling waves, right? Waves, to soothe her, you know, insatiable fires and things like that, right? They're both back and forth at each other, you know, trying to destroy each other, but then it's harmony, right? Harmony and well, what is that? It's not harmony. Um, it's the elements basically. The the elements are pent inside of um, the symbol of transformation, and your soul is underneath the ground in a circle within a circle on fire. I know what, like, I don't know this stuff. Like, it's totemism. Somebody told me, and I told you. uh, but that's not, you know, that's just. I'm not gonna be able to get back to what the video was about. I just went off. But 23 minutes of ranting, and I'll probably listen to it again. Then I'll get some, maybe an idea or something where I want to expound. No, not that. Not lightweight. Not.